Okay, we're downloading A-Game's formula.
3, 2, 1.
What's going on, world? DS1 Ross, and we back here on SheepStaysLeepTV. Shout out to everybody who support the platform. Much love, much love. Shout out to everybody who's tuned in right now. If you are here, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the like button. Shout out to all of the visionaries out there. Salute to the A-Game family. Shout out to the A-Game Nation. And I see someone started it off right, so I want to say shout out to Color Me Blazing. She says, keep the truth coming. I appreciate the love and the support. Much love to you. I appreciate you. Shout out to Nisa in the building. Shout out to Nisa. If y'all would like to get some of Nisa's beats or check out her beats, just go down in the description box and you could click the link for her channel. So shout out to Nisa. Shout out to Sir O. Shout out to my brother, the Bishop. Appreciate you, my brother. Shout out to the A-Game family in the building. Shout out to Shango Zulu on the check-in. Shout out to Larry Vaughn. Appreciate you, my brother. Salute. Shout out to my brother, the #1 grinder. Salute to my day one brother, man. Salute. Shout out to JoJo. What's going on, JoJo? What's going on? Shout out to my brother, the Book of Ronan. Yes, sir. Let's get it. A-Game Nation, man. Like I said, make sure y'all like and share the show. Make sure y'all like and share the show. No problem, Nisa. No problem. Make sure y'all like and share today's show. As you can see, the name of today's show, Black Men Choose Presence More Than Presence. Black men choose presence more than presence. And as y'all can see, it's a difference. So we're gonna dive into that today because it's very important that as men, we must understand our nature in its entirety. See, growing up in the lost value system, right? They say, or they teach Black men that your job is only 2 P's. Your reason for being a man is only for 2 things. You see? And this ties into today's show. and the topic, because the lost value system is what reinforces what we were taught, the dysfunctional things that we were taught. See, we were taught we were only supposed to provide and protect. But see, that's only half of our nature. That's only half of what we're capable of, what we're supposed to be doing. That's only half. There's 4 P's, black man. You must provide, you must problem solve, you must protect and procreate. But why they never tell black men they must problem solve? Why don't they ever tell black men they must procreate? Why don't they ever tell black men that? Why do they always say, well, your job is to provide and protect? That's part of my job. That's not all that I do. See, because I also problem solve and I also procreate. You see? So black men, do not allow anyone to tell you all you must do is provide and protect. Let them know that that's only half of my nature. If you want half of a man, if you want to deal with half of a dude, then you go get you a half of a dude. Because a man provides, he problem solves, he protects, and he procreates. You see? But he's not taught that because he's taught to neglect his internal self. You see? He's taught to neglect half of who he is. He's taught to neglect these things, the internal 5. He's taught to neglect those things. He's taught to suppress those things. This is why they tell you, black man, you are only here to provide and protect. You're only here to make money, and give your life. Let me repeat that. When you hear anyone say that a black man's job is only to provide and to protect, what they're telling you, black man, is it is your job to make money, give your money away, and give your life away. Give up your life. Any threat of danger, be ready to throw your life away. Whether it's actually your life or your freedom. And we have to understand that that narrative is going to be continued to be pushed to black men because it represents the lost value system. It represents the lost value system where a black man presence isn't valued. You see, we don't care if you're there or not. We don't care if you're there or not. We don't care. You see, people have gotten used to black men not being there, and black men have gotten used to not being there. Because we've accepted the narrative that we just provide and protect. We've accepted that our presence is not appreciated. Our presence is not wanted and warranted. So much to the point where Black men forget who they are. Then they begin to neglect who they are. And this is what happens when you practice the lost value system. You begin to think that your presence is no longer important. And this is why you have so many Black guys that'll just say, instead of them fighting for their children, they'll just pay the child support. I know plenty of guys who never tried. See, I respect the dudes who went through what they had to go through. I respect the men who fought for their children, because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to fight for what's yours. Because you what? You procreate. You're supposed to fight for your children. You see? But you have men who've given up the fight because the fight in them has been that's what has happened. Internally, Black men are so destroyed that we don't want to fight for nothing. This is why we choose to have presence more than presence. You see? The money, the cars, the clothes, the material possessions, all the things that you can buy becomes a replacement for the Black man's presence. And see, we have to understand how detrimental that is. We have to understand just how detrimental that is. When you begin to value presence over your presence. Because it shows just how defeated Black men are. It doesn't show a level of success. It doesn't show a level of accomplishment. No, are you there? See, anybody who has children or who has ever raised children, the most important thing to a child is your presence. Okay? Trust and believe. I grew up, both of my parents were poor. Okay? My dad had menial jobs, but he kept a job. But that still didn't mean we weren't poor. That still don't mean that we weren't poor. But guess what? I knew my dad loved me. My dad taught me everything I know. My dad is the reason why I am the way that I am. Because my dad was there. He had a presence in my life. This is why I have the presence that I have. Because of the presence of my father, not the presents, not the gifts, not the holiday gifts, not the birthday gifts, his presence. And now that I'm a father myself, I'm a dad myself, I understand how important presence is. Because I could be going out the house for a couple of hours and my son's is like, yo, when dad coming home? Is dad coming back? Why dad taking so long to come back? You see? presence. See, because when you're there, you can provide SOS. When you're there, when you're present, your presence is what matters. Your presence is what gonna develop your children. You actually being there and working with them. Your presence, not the child support money. Child support money is for maintenance. That's not for development. Child support money does not develop the mind of your child. Your child is not going to know you, brother, because you send money. Understand this. Now, am I saying your money's not good based on your situation? No. But brother, you have to begin to value your presence over the presence that you can give. Because that is what's going to develop your child. That is what's going to give your child the intangible skills, the communication skills, those soft skills like active listening, being able to properly respond, being able to properly articulate, being able to answer a question in more than one sentence. You see, birthday gifts is not going to teach that, brothers. Understand this. Child support money is not going to develop your children. You have to be there. Or when they're with you, actually be doing something instead of just spending money. Instead of just spending money, you have to teach them things. Your presence. Your presence. But black men don't care about their presence because they practice a lost value system that tells them not to have a standard. You see? We practice a lost value system where it tells black men not to have any standards, not to stand on nothing. You see? This is what we need to understand, black man. Your presence outweigh what you could pay for. Let me repeat that. Your presence outweigh, or it's supposed to outweigh, more than what you can pay for. If what you spend outweighs your presence, you're not effective. You're not a leader. Because you value possessions more than your presence, more than what you can actually teach. You value this. And this is the problem. This is the problem. And shout out to the Crimson Cure because she spoke on this. Shout out to my sister. But she spoke on this when she was talking about the relationship between Floyd Mayweather and his daughter. This is, or that situation is a perfect example of a man's presence over his presence. See, this is why she didn't have the SOS from her father, because he wasn't around too much. He was always gone. And then when he did come around, most likely they just went shopping. They went shopping, they went on vacation, they went to play. So she looked at her dad as a cash cow. She looked at her father as just some dude, like he's a sponsor. Because of his lack of presence with his daughter. Him not actually pouring into his daughter and teaching his daughter nothing. And this is how a lot of us brothers operate. We think we don't have to talk to our children. Like literally just sit down with them and talk. Literally just sit down with your children and listen. I start conversations with my sons and just be quiet and let them talk. This is how you gauge what your children are going through, how they're actually mentally developing. How do you notice if you don't talk to them? If you don't interact with them in a way where you could gauge their responses to things? If you're always going out, going on vacation, going shopping, you're going to always get the same response, which could actually be a fake smile. You know, one of these. You see? See, because if Floyd Mayweather was present, if his presence was being felt in his daughter's life, she wouldn't end up with an NBA young boy. She just wouldn't. She wouldn't. She wouldn't have ended up with him. She wouldn't have even been attracted to an NBA young boy because of the presence of her dad and the type of dude that he is. But once again, Floyd Mayweather practiced the lost value system. All you got to do is look at the thumbnail. They ain't too far off. When you look at them, Floyd is older and just richer. But they represent the same thing. They are the same archetype. This is why she's attracted to NBA YoungBoy. This is why. They're the same archetype of dude, just like her dad. And this is why she's in the predicament that she's in. Because of the lack of her father's presence. So let's stop saying that black men cannot be great dads because they don't make enough money. Because the black dads who are rich, a lot of them are still irresponsible, not accountable for what their children are doing, regardless of the money and the lifestyle that they was able to provide for their children. Because it's presence over presence. And this is what we have to begin to understand, black men. Your value is priceless. Your internal values is priceless. It's priceless. Understand that. And you have to teach like this, especially if you have sons, because you don't want your sons to grow up and be Jonathans. You don't want your sons to grow up and be Johns. So you have to teach them that their presence outweighs the presence. Your presence outweighs this. We have to teach our boys this. You see, this is how we have to teach our young men so they don't grow up and be simps and Jonathans. We have to teach our young ladies this, our daughters, so they don't grow up and be hoes and look at men as a goddamn ATM card. See, because that's how Yaya Mayweather look at her father. That's why she's with an NBA young boy, because she don't respect her daddy. But his ass don't carry himself with respect. He running around pumping and dumping. Running around being a breeder. Trying to be the HBIC. That's why your daughter is fighting charges. Because your presence outweighed your presence. What you gave outweighed your instructions. Outweighed your love. Outweighed your care. You see that? That's why your daughter fighting an assault charge. And you're rich as hell. And your daughter facing time in prison for doing some ratchet project hood booger shit. But I thought when black men get money, all that's supposed to stop in their life. Not when you practice the lost value system. Because when you practice the lost value system, there's no goddamn peace. There's no peace. Why you think Floyd got a whole goddamn beard? And it's getting real gray. Real gray. Because he going through it. And there's no peace in his life. This man damn near a billionaire and he has no peace. His daughter's fighting 10 years, 20 years in prison right now for stabbing this girl over a dude. What is a rich girl, a rich little girl doing this? Why is she involved in crime? What is she doing fighting over dudes? Her daddy is rich because her daddy follows this. Her daddy followed this. Her daddy is nothing but a grown-up NBA young boy. That's why she with him. So now they both in jail. They both in jail. NBA young boy in jail. Why? Why he in jail? Because he don't have any goddamn SOS. He don't got no SOS. He follows the lost value system. And even though he's in jail, right? All people could say in the media is, well, at least he's still the #1 artist, so he can provide for his child. But he can't problem solve. He can't protect them. He's not there. But in the media, they have to reinforce black men providing presence instead of presence. Because that reinforces the lost value system. You see? We have to always reinforce the consumer mind. Just consume. until you're consumed, until you self-destruct. And see, this is what plague rich men. Why when you always hear, why do you always hear a lot of our athletes, our rappers, they always having problems with their children? Not just because they got a problem with the women, that's a separate thing. But it's because a lot of them weren't there. Perfect example, Coi Leray and her father. Coi Leray, her dad is Benzino. She can't stand her father. But why she can't stand Benzino? Because Benzino was never there. He was never home. And then a lot of these guys, they don't have a real system, so they don't even come and explain nothing to the children. They just wait till the children grow up and be dysfunctional and say, well, daddy was providing for you. Well, you didn't tell me that when I was 5, Dad. Why you didn't just tell me you was working? And you wasn't just working, because I remember mom being stressed out and struggling. See, brothers, we have to understand how important our presence is. You have to understand this. How effective will your influence be when you're not around, when you're never around? See, your leadership, your influence could still be effective in the house when you're not around, once you establish a system, order, and structure. Once there's certain things understood or made understood in your family, then you can go and do what you do, because there's an understanding. Okay, this is what dad do. You know, dad got shows. I'm gonna be gone from this day to this day. You see? But this is not what's going on, because these men practice the lost value system. The lost value system tells you you ain't got to explain shit. Just go get the money. Everybody will be quiet once I bring home the money. Everybody will be okay once I bring home this big bag of money. Nobody will complain. Everybody will be happy, and I will feel like the man that I am. And that's wrong. You're sadly mistaken, black man. You're sadly mistaken. And the majority of the men who think that way, their children can't stand them. Their children cannot stand them. It is because they put possessions, presence, over their presence. See, if you ever was really active with your children or active with children, you'll understand how much your children or children crave your energy. It's not the money. It's not you know, the sneakers and the video game. No, it's your energy. Sometimes they like to just hear your voice. It's your presence, brothers. But you don't think your presence is important. Why? Because you let a lost value system tell you that. And you let men who practice the lost value system tell you that. That if you ain't got no money, don't come around. I remember when my father, he used to buy me toys from the discount store. My father used to buy me toys from the discount store. Do you know that? And that never made me look at my dad no kind of way. You know why? Because my dad used to buy me all the wrestling men from the discount store, all the cheap little wrestling men, and we used to play together. We used to play together. So it didn't matter about the presence. It was about the presence. Black man, you got to understand this. They don't come up with these things that they say about black fatherhood for nothing. Brothers, we cannot forget how important our presence is. If our presence wasn't important, why do they come up with racial profiling laws and all this type of stereotyping and all of this stuff for black men? If our presence isn't important. They come up with all of these racketeering and RICO acts and all of these things to railroad black men who decide to come together and do something. They got to be a drug organization. They about to get RICO laws because of the black man's presence. They better not group up and do nothing. We're going to give them the RICO law. Because black men have to never know the importance of their presence. We're never supposed to accept that. We're never supposed to know that. We're supposed to always remain inferior and walk around that way. Oh, everybody's threatened by me. Oh, let me calm down. Oh, let me not be so loud. Oh, let me duck my head. That's how they want black men. Because they want black men to shut up and pay. Your presence need to outweigh your presence. It's not about how you show up. It's about what you show up with. You see, that's what's important. It's not about who you show up with. It's not about how you show up. It's about what you show up with. See, most people don't want you to come to the cookout. They want you to come because they want you to bring something. Ain't that right, black man? They don't want you. You can't come to the cookout empty-handed. You're a freeloader. And I'm not saying that that's what we're supposed to do. But nigga, that's the only reason why they called you. That's the only reason why they sent you an invite. Because they know if you show up, you're going to bring something. You see? It's not about your presence. It's about your presence, black man. It's about your presence. Protect and provide. That's all you better do. You better not problem solve. You better not stand in the way of some foolishness that they want allowed. Because now you're not wanted here. Now you're doing too much. Now you're doing too much. Shut up and give me what I want. Excuse me. Do you have what I asked for? How many of us black men ever got spoken to like that before? Huh? How many of us? How many of us saw other black men get spoken to like that? It is an example of black men's presence over their presence. If you ain't got shit, what you coming for? What you coming for? What you coming for? What do you hear most women say nowadays? If you can't at least pay the phone bill, why you over here? Why am I messing with you? You can't even pay my light bill. Your presence. Forget the interaction that y'all have. Forget that. Forget if y'all would have a good conversation. She ain't even thinking about that. Because she look at you based on a lost value system. So it's about your present, what you got. Not who you are, what you got. See, this is how Glendon Camerons could get around shit for 20, 30 years. Because it's not about who you are, it's about what you got. It's not about your presence, it's about your presence. It's not about how you show up, it's about what you show up with. I'm going to say that again. And this is how black men are showing up today. This is how black men are showing up today. So if you want to stop being treated like a Jonathan, stop showing up as a Jonathan. Stop doing this. I have something for you. Hi. Stop doing that. Show up as yourself. Not saying if you want to be nice, you want to show up with some flowers, a little balloons or something, you could do that too. But if that's not who you are, don't do that. You see? Your presence, brothers, who you are. Your presence. So if you're not the balloon and teddy bear guy, don't show up with one because you think that's going to impress her. Don't do that. Because what you're doing is you're showing up as a Jonathan. You showing up like you want something from her. So that's why you're coming in with a gift. Here, now she know you're going to want something in return. Show up as yourself, brothers. And see, this is what the 10 life value system teaches you. To show up as yourself first. See, if you don't know who the hell you are, you're going to waste a bunch of time. You're going to waste a bunch of time on women that you know is not worthy of it. And the reason why you do that is because you don't have a strong sense of self. You see, you need to work on your spiritual value. Who you are, your presence. Your presence. That's why some guys who other guys may think is not traditionally attractive may attract a lot of women or a different type of woman than other guys because of his presence. It's not so much of his looks, it's his presence. Women like a man with a certain type of presence. See, your presence is going to determine how people receive you, how people treat you. It's going to determine whether they respect you, whether they disrespect you, whether they fear you, whether they love you. That's all based on Your presence, brothers, not your presence. Okay? Not the Christmas gifts, not the school clothes. Those things are necessary for maintenance. That's how you maintain. That's not how you grow. That's how you maintain. You got to have clothes. You got to have clean clothes. You got to have decent, clean clothes. Because that ties into your appearance. You got to have decent, clean clothes. Nobody said they had to be name brand. You see, nobody said that. But they neat and clean and they new. You see? So you're not the man because you went and spent $2,000 on some Louis so your son could go to school. No, you an idiot. That's what you are. You're an idiot. Because you think that's gonna make you daddy of the year. You think that's gonna make you daddy of the year? Huh? No, it's not. It's about your presence. What are you teaching him? What is he learn? What is he learning from you? See, because children not only listen to what you say, but they more replicate what you do. So black man, if you're practicing the lost value system, your son and your daughter is going to see you doing that too, and they're going to follow you. So if your son see you being a Jonathan, what you think he's going to be? If your son see you leading with your wallet, what you think he's going to be? Huh? If you don't get no respect from nobody you're around and your son see it, what you think going to happen to him? You his daddy. You are the male figure that he's copying himself after. So if nobody respects your goddamn presence, you think somebody gonna respect his? This is why Yaya Mayweather's sitting in jail. And facing time. Because her daddy thought that he could pay to take care of his child. But you can't pay enough now, Floyd. She in jail. She facing time. Now you can't pay enough. You see what I'm telling you, brothers? Presence. Your presence is supposed to outweigh your presence. Because you can't teach doing this. You got to teach by being there. And by giving them the proper value system that will teach them to love themselves first. You love God and you love yourself. And then you love your family. See, if Yaya Mayweather was taught that, she wouldn't have ended up with an NBA YoungBoy. If NBA YoungBoy was taught that, he wouldn't be in jail right now. He'd be out taking care of his child. Because he wouldn't have been practicing a value system that'll get him to not value his family. You still trying to prove you a monster in the street, forgetting you got a child in the house. Forgetting you got a child to take care of. You ain't got time to still prove you a G. You got a child, bro. That's why he's sitting in prison. But see, it all goes back to Floyd. See, brothers, we got to hold ourselves accountable. That's what I'm going to continue to do here on Sheep Stay Sleep TV. That's what we have to do as men. We have to hold ourselves accountable. It goes back to Floyd and his worship and fellowship of the lost value system. And the fact that he bought his daughter. He bought his daughter. And he taught his daughter to deal with men who can purchase her. You see? You see? See, Floyd can't solve this problem. Floyd don't know how to solve problems in his life. You know why? Because Floyd didn't grow up with this from his father. He has some of it. He had some of it from his Uncle Roger, but he had a dysfunctional relationship with his dad. This is why he always had static with other guys. You see? Floyd was taught to worship the lost value system because the men in his life did. The men in his life practiced the lost value system. You see, brothers? You see how this lost value system will destroy every facet of your life? It'll destroy it, man. That's why it's called the lost value system. You're going to lose everything. And the first things you're going to lose is you're going to lose your mind. You're going to lose your way. You're going to lose your mind. You're going to lose your family. And look at Floyd now. Floyd look old as hell. Floyd ain't never looked that old. You starting to see the stress on Floyd's face. You starting to see it. He ain't shining like he used to. Because that lost value system is kicking him in his ass. Starts kicking him in his ass. It's kicking him in his ass. He's starting to spend more money than he's accumulating. You think he's not paying for the best lawyers for his daughter to get the lowest time she could get? Hopefully she could get probation or house arrest or some shit. You know how much money he's spending? You know how much millions he's spending? Millions. He's spending millions to try to save his daughter for a problem that could have been alleviated if he was there. Not there when it happened. Not there when it happened. But there way before she started even thinking about boys. What he was doing. Running around pumping and dumping. Running around with that whole mindset. Trying to be the HBIC. And he lost his family. He lost his family because of this. He lost his family, black man. And he gonna lose more money. Because he already losing millions. Because he trying to save his daughter. Because Floyd's not a good problem solver. He don't know how to solve problems. He still ain't rectified a relationship with him and his dad, really. Then he got into it with him and his uncle. Floyd's not a problem solver. And it's because he's had men in his life who run and avoid problems also. They run and avoid the internal issues that plague them also. And that trauma was just passed on to him. And now it's being passed on to his daughter. Black man, your presence is valuable. Your presence is priceless. Understand that. You know the commercial where they say, a hot dog in a ballpark, $5. A walk, a night on the town, $250. A black man's presence, priceless. It's priceless, brothers. It's priceless. There's no price tag on it. It's too valuable. You can't put a numerical value on your presence, black man. Your presence should not be determined by what's in your pocket. Your presence is supposed to be determined based on what's up here and what's in here. What's up here and what's in here. That's what makes your presence valuable and priceless. And I want you brothers to begin to understand and digest that shit. You're bigger than your income. You're bigger than your wallet. Your presence is needed. Your presence is wanted. I know the black women hit me up and they tell me that they love what the brothers in the A Game Nation is doing. Shout out to all my brothers in the A Game Nation. And we're not doing this for women. We're doing it because we're men. You're always looking for a reason to use some internet terminology. Shut the hell up with that. We're not doing this for women. We're not doing this because we can't move on. No, we're doing it because we're men. Okay? White men don't do it for women. Them dudes over there in the 21 convention, they not doing that shit for white women. They doing it because they're men. That's why we do it. Because we're men. And women and children benefit from what men decide to do. That's how it works, Negro. That's how that works. They benefit from what you build. Because guess what? Who built the roads, Negro? Who built the bridges, Negro? You didn't build it, but a man did. All this goofy ass shit. Black man, stop choosing presence over your presence. Because that makes you a Jonathan. You already putting yourself in a category as a Jonathan when you think that your presence is supposed to outweigh who you are when you show up. And it's time for black men to begin to value themselves again. And the only way we're going to do that is by practicing the 10 life value system. Because this is the only value system that tells black men to value themselves first. Your presence, your spiritual value, your health value, your family value, your appearance value, your dwelling value, your presence. The way you show up, your presence. I know millionaires that drive Kias, nigga. Drive Kias, nigga. And he still got Bentleys. That's an asset, though. You're going to make money off that. because it's about your presence, not your presence. See, y'all all about the presence. That's why my man rent the Bentley out, nigga, for you goofies who like to show the presence. That's not manhood. That's boyhood. Look at my toys. Look what I vroom, 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 vroom. Look at me. Vroom, vroom, vroom. Ying, 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 ying. But what about your presence? What about when you get around homegirl and she still think you a goofy? Huh? And she be like, yeah, you better pay for this shit. I don't even really like you. Yeah. Yeah. What you gonna do when she tell you that? Huh? What you gonna do when she tell you she still ain't feeling you like that, but you cute? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you should do is do some self-reflection and work on your presence and stop trying to look like, you know, the head buck in charge. Shout out to everybody in the building. Salute to everybody in the chat. Shout out to all of the visionaries, man. I appreciate y'all for coming through to today's show. Make sure y'all get down in the comment section and let me know what y'all think about today's show. Also, make sure y'all go and check out my premiere. I dropped about 3 hours ago. Make sure y'all go and check that out. Make sure y'all go and check that out. Black men benefit off of brokenness. Make sure y'all go and check that out. I appreciate everybody for coming through to today's show. Excuse me. Shout out to the A Game Nation. Salute to the A Game family. Shout out to all of the visionaries for coming through. I appreciate all the love and the support. I appreciate all the donations. If you hit the Cash App, if you hit the Super Chat, shout out to Miss Angie. Thank you, Miss Angie, for coming through. Much love to you. I appreciate the super sticker. Shout out to everybody once again. Much love to y'all. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure y'all share the show. DS1 Raw, Sheep Stay Sleep TV. And remember, brothers, we got to heal before we build. We got to heal before we build. Brothers, make sure your presence outweigh your presence. That's manhood. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. Peace.